Hey folks, Lachlan here again, speaking to you from just outside of Durban, South Africa. What I'm going to talk about in today's video is something I've talked about several times before, but I believe it's an important message and I'm going to keep repeating it until it sinks in or makes some kind of real difference. I know that seems overly hopeful when I've just got a tiny YouTube channel, but I'm going to keep doing it anyway because I believe it is the right thing to do. The main reason that South Africa is in the social state it's in, with everybody fighting with each other along racial lines, is that we don't often speak to each other as people. We see each other as representatives of our respective groups, and this is not helpful. This phenomenon, or this reaction to one another, has only become more common with the rise of social media and how much of our daily interactions actually take place online instead of face to face. So, here are a few things that need to be addressed. Firstly, white people need to stop seeing black people as lazy, entitled, and just demanding things that they don't deserve. Because while that is true of some black people, it is not true of all. Because if you look, for instance, at your local shopping center, just look at how many people working in the stores you see are black, and look how hard they work to keep the economy running. Because it is black people who, by and large, keep this economy running. That's a fact. And if you don't believe me, just stop and think about it for a while. When you order something to be delivered to your house, whether it's online shopping or fast food, 9 times out of 10, your delivery driver is going to be a black person. When you want to have something built or maintained in your home, yes, the boss of the company you employ might be white, but again, 9 times out of 10, the person actually doing the physical work to repair or maintain something is going to be black. So I say again, black people are extremely important to maintaining the South African economy. Now I'm going to get on to how black people often unfairly treat whites. You see, in my experience, the negative stereotypes that we are confronted with as white people by black people are, for example, that we all have wealthy families, that we all went to fancy schools, that we all have relatives in other countries that we can go and stay with whenever we want, that we all have easy access to loans for businesses, that we all have a wide network of contacts who can just put us in touch with the right person for the right job at any time. And for the vast majority of white South Africans, this is not true. We, like you, are mostly working class and mostly also just trying to get by and pay our bills on time. Yes, it is true that there are several white billionaires in South Africa who control large sectors of our economy, but there is no big WhatsApp group for white people where if we run out of money or if we lose our jobs, we can simply send a WhatsApp message to Rob Herzog or Johan Rupert and say, hey guys, I'm short of money. Can you send a couple million my way, please? That just doesn't happen. Although the radicals seem to think it does. It just doesn't. That's fantasy. And for a lot of white people, myself included, particularly those of us who grew up post apartheid, so after 1994, there is no direct benefit to being white, and in many ways, it is a detriment to one's ability to progress or to achieve things. I know that the politicians in this country like to constantly remind us of the crimes of apartheid, but they don't do that for your benefit. They do that for their own. And this is why I firmly believe that if there is any one true enemy to all people in South Africa, it is the political class. Yes, even the DA. Now, this is complicated, so I want to be clear. There are good politicians who work hard to serve the people at a local and provincial level. I know this because I've worked with some of them in my career as a journalist. However, the fact is, when it comes to those who are in national or executive level of all of our political parties, the reality is that they don't give a shit about us. They don't live in the same world we do. They are far more concerned with traveling in fancy cars, attending prestigious meetings, and having their own little arguments and ego battles in front of the media. Because something I've noticed about our politicians, particularly, is that a lot of them seem to crave attention and fame. They want to be celebrities. They don't think of themselves as public servants, which is what they are supposed to be. They think of themselves as being a separate class who live in a world where they are completely separate from us and above us in life. This is a fact, and in my opinion, it extends across all political parties. Essentially, what I'm trying to tell you is that I, as a working class white South African, have no desire to oppress you. I don't consider myself better than you. I don't have access to opportunities that you yourself cannot reach. And in fact, in many ways, I am doing worse than the average black South African because I am severely physically disabled and I have been a recipient of the state disability grant for the majority of my life, except for one brief period in my early 20s when my economic prospects were far better than they are now. If I could, I would stop claiming the disability grant. I don't want it. I don't want to have to rely on government money to survive. But this is the reality, and these are the circumstances I find myself in. As always, I hope that you find some value in this content. Look after yourselves, take care of each other, practice the true meaning of Ubuntu, and for now, farewell.